So here you have a picture of Rabbi Yosef Chaim Mimran. He's the author of the book that we're reading. I think he's gotten a little bit more white since the last time I saw him because he's still on the internet and you can find him under the name Yeshiva Torah, Yeshiva Sachen. It's Yeshiva Torah Tachen, which is written here. You can see it on the back of this book. So the Yeshiva Tachen or Torah Tachen, you can find him there or just type in his name. You'll see he's got different kinds of things. He works hard on them. So let's come over here, but this is another place that he worked hard. So here we're talking about mystical meditation. What does it mean? I was thinking about it. I think about it all the time and I try it. Try different kinds of things because I have troubles every day just like everybody does. But the thing is that not to let the troubles, the thinking about the troubles, become take you over, but to actually have a way out of the constant thinking. He calls that ego thinking, protecting your body, protecting yourself, your reputation, all these external kind of ideas, which we call chitzonius also in Kabbalah. He said this is the last thing he said then yesterday, and there's something I want to add after this. All cravings are the mind's way of seeking salvation or fulfillment. He says cravings, he means to say like something that you can't live without, something that you really strive for. It's just the whole thing in your life and you're all constantly thinking about it. And external things are in the future. Those are the way minds of seeking salvation, fulfillment, but you're feeling it, you're seeking it in external. Hitzonius. Hitzonius means that it will die. It doesn't have a real life. It just has a life that's sort of like borrowed because of your fantasies and or in the future. So now let's go over here and this is what I was thinking. This is a very short piece here today, and it's called The Light of Constant Consciousness. It's part 6. Is that one of the things I think that Rabbi Mimran is moving us towards is becoming more creative. Because I was thinking about this and I wonder, what do you think about this idea? Is that your neshama has to be tremendously creative in order to be able to stay alive in this world. Because we're in a world which, it's very, very difficult for your body or your cells, your physical sense, to be able to manage this world. And inside of your body, which gives it life and everything else, is this neshama, and it has to go along. So I think that what we want to find out is the ways to get out of the trap of the body, to get more into the creative aspect, which is part of the neshama. These are my words. Now let's read Rabbi Mimran's words. This is the light of consciousness. That's the name of this. Since I am God, this is the Abarbanel on Vayikra. Since I am God, the true reward is the attachment to me at the bask in the rays of my holy presence. Now let's read it again. Now, since I am God, the true reward that a person could be zeicha to receive in this world is the attachment to me, because Hashem is eternity, and to bask in the rays of my holy presence. Now, here goes Rabbi Mimran. How can we escape the devastating clutches of the emotional ego? It shows up everywhere, and it seems to be overwhelmingly powerful. The good news is that if we respond to it appropriately, the emotional ego is not powerful at all, as it has no power of its own. It could be likened to a dark shadow cast by the ego, a shadow that will disappear as soon as the light is shined upon it. Indeed, it fears the light of your consciousness. It is afraid of being found out. The emotional ego can survive only so long as you unconsciously identify with it, and only if you harbor an unconscious fear of facing the pain that lives within you. Therefore, if you don't confront your own pain, don't bring the light of your consciousness into it, you will be forced to relive that pain over and over again. Let me read the last part. He says, if you don't confront your own pain, in other words, you have to confront it, you have to look at it, you have to live with it. If you don't bring the light of your consciousness into it, you'll be forced to relive that pain over and over again. The emotional ego may masquerade as a dangerous monster so that you will do anything to avoid looking at it. But in truth, it is nothing more than an insubstantial phantom, a shadow, that can never prevail against the power of the presence of your own soul. This is really, really, really beautiful, beautiful words, and I'd like to read it again just for myself. He says the emotional ego may masquerade as a dangerous monster so that you will do nothing to anything to avoid looking at it. Look at your thoughts. But in truth, it is nothing more than an insubstantial phantom, a shadow that can never prevail against the power of the presence of your own soul. Now, he says, trying to ignore our pain and telling ourselves the pain is just an illusion will in no way free us from the pain. Try to drug it. Try to find a way to get just to avoid it. What can free us is our effort to recognize the truth and bring that truth into our own experience. So he says this is why the emotional ego doesn't want us to observe it directly and see it for what it is. As soon as we observe it, feel its energy within us, and bring our attention to it, at that moment we break our identification with it. So he says, as soon as we observe it, just observe what you're thinking, feel its energy within us, and bring our attention to it. At that moment, we break our identification with it and we allow a higher dimension of consciousness to enter our lives. Once you become the observer and the witness of the emotional ego, it can no longer use you by pretending to be you. Most importantly, it can no longer replenish itself by feeding on the negativity within you. It is then that you find your own inner strength. You have accessed the power of soul. So Rabbi Mimran writes as a blurb at the end, what can free us is our effort to recognize the truth and bring that truth into our own experience. Bring that truth into our own experience. This is Baruch Fleischman. I'm at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel, and this has been Rabbi Yosef Chaim Mimran, the light of consciousness, what it can do.